G'day, welcome to Module 1 of the teacher training modules. So this is documenting my journey on the way to becoming a Sifu, a teacher of Wing Chun, specifically under Sifu John Kogan in the One Tao community that he's established in the One Tao Kung Fu Wing Chun method that he's created. So in this first module, it's about the state, origins, and history. State origins and theory behind the state. So it's Wing Chun Kung Fu, originally from Shaolin Temple, 500 years ago. Nun there created Wing Chun, and then it was taught master student down through the ages till it was taught to Ip Man. And then Ip Man, when he moved from China into Hong Kong, taught it to more than one student, and that was the beginning of spreading, I guess, Wing Chun to the world. One of those students was Bruce Lee. The other one was Choi Shong Ting. Sifu John Kogan was studied in Hong Kong under Choi Shong Ting there for about 10 years. And that's where the beginnings of what we call at One Tao the state. So as part of the state, into the application of Wing Chun, in Wing Chun you have 6 forms. The first 3 forms are empty-handed forms, which are Su Nim Tao, Su Lim Tao, which is called small idea or small thought. And the Nim is the mind power that has been associated with Wing Chun. It is an internal art, an internal style of Kung Fu, as opposed to the external hard styles that you may be familiar with the Shaolin Temple or other Kung Fu styles. And I guess similar to sort of Tai Chi and Qigong, and utilizes elements of that. And there's a small part of that went into Sifu John's creation of Wing Chun. So sort of spirituality and personal growth elements to it. My journey has been about Wing Chun. I started in 1997, first came into my sphere of awareness, and have been training at the One Tao Kung Fu Academy online for nearly the last year. Grandmaster Choi Shong Ting was one of Ip Man's top students, or if not the top student, one could argue. I believe he's the only person that Ip Man ever said was more powerful than himself. Obviously, throughout the years, there was in China there was a Mao Zedong area where knowledge and information was, you could say, frowned upon. So Ip Man fled to Hong Kong, and there he taught Bruce Lee and taught Choi Shong Ting. And in order to survive and continue teaching, he took elements of Kung Fu that were developed, that may have been, and highly possible would have been developed at the Shaolin Temple by Ning Mei. I believe that's how you pronounce her name, may be wrong. In order to survive. So Choi Shong Ting became known as the King of Su Nim Tao. Su Nim Tao is the first form, and then second form is Chum Kyu, which is a pivoting based form movement, and then the third form is Bill G, which is a rotational based movement. And Choi Shong Ting taught this for many, many years, and then when he passed away in 2014, said to his top students, find a better, faster way of teaching this to the world. And so what Sifu John has done is he, during his time there, moved to Cyprus and studied under the Researchers of Truth, which is a group of people who are involved in healing, energy healing, and sort of the etheric arts, one could say. And then he also studied under studied the teachings of Dr. David Hawkins. I'm not sure what the group and the people that do it now in Sedona are called, but is incorporate essentially those two elements, a range of other things, into his style of into the One Tao Kung Fu. And like the logo there, the cross and the Tao or the Tao, there is elements of oneness, everything connected. If you've seen the recent photos of quantum entanglement, you know, there's some knowledge there. And your spiritual teachings such as Jesus Christ, essentially forgiveness, love everyone, and how that the spiritual teachings, I was going to say religious, but that's not the right word. The spiritual teachings such as Buddha, Christ, can be applied and translated into, you know, the daily grind and the daily world that some of us find us in, that and put it into a practical Kung Fu method. So One Tao Kung Fu is an internal style of Wing Chun Kung Fu. It incorporates Chu Shong Ting lineage Wing Chun, but it also has evolved in with the state, is what Sifu John teaches it, and that is we also have a meditation element to our Wing Chun. Haven't quite figured out the pause button on this one here, so I'm just checking my notes, make sure I'm covering off everything for the first module. So there's in Wing Chun, you start off with the Sulam Tao, which is the small thought, which is about a moving form and moving application of Kung Fu that essentially teaches one to focus forward and use no force. And in that application, you go through and you learn the first form, and then that then moves into a second form and a third form. Now, part of the teachings from Chu Shong Ting is the concept of relaxing, the idea of practicing more, the idea of being forceless, and if you ever had the opportunity to train or meet Chu Shong Ting, I did once in Hong Kong. Very joyful person as a human being, very powerful as well. And so, in order to bridge the gap between what Chu Shong Ting could do and what everyone who was going to him to learn to do, Sifu incorporated the moving energy or energy work from the Researchers of Truth, and that could be very similar to, I guess, Tai Chi and Qigong. Is one of the moving energies that we work on is called sinking, and that's about sinking the energy down through the body. But then we also apply that sinking and that moving energy in a forward direction, and essentially moving energy can be moving any way. It is not confined to a cage unless you make one. And so in his journey, he learned about the Researchers of Truth, about there's different elements of this, where it's, you know, Rudolf Steiner has a philosophy of the astral plane. This is, could be Aboriginals and native indigenous peoples have the concept of the dream space or the dream world, and essentially the energy that is used when you dream, the energy that is powers your body, and the connectedness to everything that exists, and through the Researchers of Truth, he put this energy into our Kung Fu, and so the energy body, the energy work, essentially is about there's 5 things that essentially make up what we call the state: spiritual intention, centering, sensing, sinking, and seeing. And all those 5 things are combined and infused to be the state, is what we naturally are. And one of the beautiful things about One Tao Kung Fu is that it is a way that helps you get free of resistance in order to step in and be that power, and that unification of oneness. So for the energy body, I'll go into the energy body. I won't pause, I'll keep going. So it's one module, try and keep it under 15 minutes. The energy body consists of, is essentially, you have a physical body. Yep, you got your physical body, you can touch it, that's physical matter. But then as we look into quantum physics, we know that there are atoms, and those atoms make up our physical matter. You know, we're 80% water, so glass of water, are you glass half full or glass half empty? But inside your body and all your matter is everything, inside your blood and your cells and your bones and everything, there is space. And there is space between those atoms, and there is energetic space. Now, as part of the Tao or the Tao, it's said to, the Big Bang, everything was the size of a pea, maybe, if that's what you believe, whatever, then boom, and expanded out, and then there was obviously everything was connected, and it still is. There's been scientific experiments now where you put DNA, you put a photon in one direction, or an atom, and you split it and you travel along the path. They move in the same directions in the same way, and make the same choices, no matter how far the distance is. So essentially it's saying, we're all connected and we're all powered by this energy. Now, whether that's a spiritual energy or a connection to the universe, whatever you want to call it, that is essentially sort of a power source for us to tap into as Kung Fu practitioners. So the energy body, 3 energy bodies. Hold up 4. There's 3. Yeah, 3. You have the mental, or the thought, the mind energy body. You have the emotional energy body, and then you have the etheric, or the physical energy body. So you've got your physical body here, and then you essentially have an energetic body around your body. Sometimes it's known as an aura, sometimes it's, depending on what it is, like the etheric body, but it's essentially like a blueprint for your physical form of what makes us, I guess, human. And when you cut yourself, it forms back. So there's an intelligence inside that energy that helps you heal. And then the emotional body is, around, people say, like the heart, how you feel, the emotions. And inside those emotions, they have, there's energy involved with that. Anger is one of the emotions that has energy. Love is also one of the emotions that have energy. And then the mental body and the mind is another, I guess, energy body, and a source of creation. And for example, you have thoughts. Each thought has an energy or a quality to it. Simple one, think of someone you hate, how does that make you feel? Versus think of someone you love, how does that make you feel? And if you look at those and you observe those 2 qualities and how they show up in your space, you will find that they vibrate and they sense and they feel different. So it's about a unification of those. Now, one way that you can test that from a practical point of view is you can hold your arm out, maybe in a different position. Hold it out like that. And this is one of the ways that Dr. Hawkins does his muscle testing. But you can hold your arm out like that, and you can think of something that is forceful. What we use, Dr. Hawkins, if you read the book Power versus Force, essentially forceful are forceful emotions, downward spiraling, life-draining concepts or ideas. and power are spiraling upwards towards power. They're self-fulfilling and they're connected to, life-sustaining, should I say. And you can hold that and you can have a partner move your arm or push down on your arm, and you can see which one feels stronger. So that's one way to test it, but the way you can, and when you're doing that, you can sense that feeling. So if you focus on your whole body, you can push down and test it and see where that goes, or you can just focus on your arm and touch it and see where that goes. Then you can add the syncing energy, so you can focus on your arm and sync it through your arm, but then you can also focus on your whole body, so you feel your feet and sync the energy through your feet and just notice the difference between those two. Then you can add an idea to it, so you can add an image of something that brings you joy or makes you happy or makes you feel good, whether it's a dog, whether it's your puppy, whether it's a quarter pounder with no pickle, or whether it's your loved ones, or whatever it is, something that makes you smile, right? And then you can then add that to your training. And essentially, I want to wrap this module up, but those are the sensing, syncing, and seeing elements of the state. You look to increase the power or free the power to really turn up that dial, so that they are infused into our physical matter, and we express those in our application of this art. Hope that was of interest. Really tons of things to cover, and it's one of the beautiful things about this art that is having a cup of tea and talking about the philosophical side of Kung Fu is where paradigm shifts happen, and they are beautiful to be involved in and to be part of. So thank you very much for listening. I know it's going on to 17 minutes now, but this is amazing art, and I look forward to having you on this journey with me. Peace, love, and Kung Fu.